Hello, welcome to one of my favourite parks in Liverpool. This is Allerton Towers. It's on the south side of the city, not very far away actually from John Lennon's childhood home. But it was I should say, the site of a beautiful Italianate mansion which was built, I think, in 1849, if memory serves me. And sadly, as with so many of these large estates and country houses, the effects of the Great War, the 1418 war, drained the country of labour, basically, and large houses couldn't be maintained. There just weren't the staff to keep them going. And of course, financially, they were massively draining. So in the 1920s, it was sold to what was then known as the Liverpool Corporation. Even more sadly, in the 1930s, it was demolished because they discovered that it was full of rampant dry rot and was just beyond repair. So the original house was demolished. All that's left now is the gatekeeper's lodge, a couple of ancillary buildings, stables, laundry, and an orangery, which I've photographed many times in the past. I've just not brought you guys along for the ride, kind of thing. So now, on an early Sunday morning, with nobody around at the moment anyway, we're going to see what we can get photographically. I've been doing quite a bit more history than photography of late, so I want to try and redress the balance. After all, this is a photography channel, he said. This area here is what remains of the old walled garden, which of course back in the day would have been filled with vegetable patches as well as flowers for the dining table, all sorts of things like that really. That shower has just passed. It's actually very warm, it's humid. But just before the rain came down, I took a shot of that rather forlorn looking archway down there. And this morning I've come out with the EM1 Mark II and the 12 to 50 zoom lens. I've also got the Samyang 7.5 in the bag with me. But the shot I've just taken down there in that archway, okay, very dark, overcast area, ISO 200, f3.5. It looks fine on the back of the camera. If it's as good as it looks on the camera, I'm just gobsmacked, I think is the word, with regard to these Olympus cameras and image stabilization. Just wickedly good. Behind me, if I can point it to you, in the shade over there, is the gateway, which come winter time, when the undergrowth has died back, allows access to the back of the stables and laundry building. It's completely impassable. There's all sorts growing in there, and they're way above my head height, so I'm not even going to consider trying to get through. It's also all extremely wet. But right now I'm going to just walk a few yards through to what is the highlight of the remains of this wonderful mansion. Okay, well, just around this corner is my particular highlight of these buildings. It's the Orangery. And it's the main reason that I've brought the 7.5 Samyang with me. But I'm just going to walk around the side of it and give you a profile shot of it. It would have been magnificent in its heyday. Absolutely glorious. Isn't that wonderful? I hate to think how much it cost. Gosh, it's incredibly overgrown. I can't believe how much the undergrowth has encroached on it. Spin the GoPro around and point you actually at the building rather than my ugly mug. Well, I'm going to take one with the 12 to 50. There's an awful lot of contrast in here between the shaded areas and where the sunlight is creeping in. That was a tenth of a second f4. Okay, so now it's time to change this for the 7.5. And this is where I muffle the sound because the microphone's going to get covered. So, Samyang 7.5. Manual focus, of course. And without moving my feet, oh my goodness me. See, the awkward thing about a lens this wide is that holding the camera conventionally, I can see my sleeve. There's my hand. Crazy. So I've got to hold it single-handed. That was a sixth of a second. Going on to auto ISO. ISO 1000, a hundredth. We'll see. So that was quite entertaining. I want to try and get a shot of these wonderful pillars, what would have been the original entrance, I guess, back in the day. I'll probably get the GoPro in this shot if I'm not careful. Yeah, easily. Oh my God. I'll show you exactly what I mean because I'm going to have to crop into that, and I'll obviously move in closer anyway and obscure the GoPro. Probably going to get wet as I squeeze through this narrow gap here to get inside the other end of the Orangery. Ah, there we go. Let me just show you what it looks like from this end. There. So another couple of shots here, I think. It's really in a bad state of decay, which is really sad. taken a few shots of the orangery from inside. I've just put the 12 to 50 lens back on because I don't think I'm going to need the 7.5 again. I want to do some shots from the lawn side of it so you get a better understanding of the length of the orangery itself, but I'll do those afterwards. I've just come through to the back, and this, sorry for spinning you around very fast there, this is the back of the stables and laundry block. So we're going to have a look at this, see if we can make any images over here. Gosh, I just love that window. It looks like burning on the other side of it. And I don't think the colour comes out on the GoPro. But that's definitely one for the stills. So this is the forecourt of the original building where Allerton Towers would have once stood, and the pathway over there leads up to the old laundry and I guess servants' quarters, etc. I just want to show you this magnificent monkey puzzle tree, which is absolutely huge. So of course we know it as a monkey puzzle tree because of course monkeys are supposedly unable to walk along the branches with these sharp spines angled forwards. So far so good. I've not gotten too wet. And here we are. This is the other side of the stable yard. And as you can see, it's now run as the Merseyside Youth Challenge Trust. So it's an outdoor activities centre for teenagers. Some nice plants out here. Fabulous building. Here's something quite interesting. A covered passageway. I'll take you through it with the GoPro. Again, it's not something that I can easily photograph creatively with a still camera. And it leads through to absolutely nowhere. Now I can tell you what this was. This would have been something called an ice house. And of course, before the invention of refrigerators, country houses like this would have needed supplies of ice through the summer months. So what they would do is to send their staff, usually with a purpose-made cart, to the nearest lake, pond or river when it was frozen. They would smash the ice up, put it in the cart, bring it back here, and this would originally have had a roof on it, and the roof would probably have been covered with soil afterwards, sort of hermetically sealing it so the ice would keep through the summer months. And staff could then just come in here as and when required and take ice out for the master's top table. Cool, huh? You probably won't be able to see them, but there's a couple of chaps over there, golfists on Allerton Golf Course, and obviously this would have been Definitely one of the main entrances into Allerton Towers. And this is another view of what is now the youth centre and would have been stables and laundry, etc. So we just walked from that no longer used entranceway, coming down around the corner. I'll just try and point out to you where I was going to try and get through from the walled garden, and it's right over the top of that mound of greenery there. You can see how overgrown it is with, what is it, lilacs, rhododendrons, I don't know. So I'm quite glad I didn't try that. So let's have a look around here. Because I do remember this side of the building. Really is in quite a sorry state. And that's the back of the youth centre, as it is now. I do think there's some potential here for some stills. Quite like the look of this rotten brickwork up here, sort of partially covered by those weeds. So let's see what we can get. I'm going to crop in quite close, and I want to underexpose it because we've got some pretty bright highlights in here. If you're thinking that I do photograph some weird stuff, I can't argue with you. Most people, I guess, would be focusing on the rather lovely flowers and wildlife. So, let's have a look. I think we missed him. I'm not even going to bother looking at those. If I got a bee inside the flower head, then terrific. If not, it's not the end of the world. So now I'm just going to walk down to the existing lodge, Gatekeeper's Lodge, which is a private dwelling. I have no idea what these are. We have pink ones here. Some beautiful blue ones here. I say no idea what they are. No doubt one of you green-fingered viewers will tell me. So I'm not going to be able to do much there anyway. But I want to show it you. And then I've really sort of shown you everything that still stands in Allerton Towers. Isn't that nice? Again, Italianate, so it would give you a clue as to what the mansion itself would have looked like. Very nice. We have a bus stop here. From a bus stop in Allerton, outside Allerton Towers, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. I hope there's a bit more photography in this one than history. And I'll see you all very soon for yet another average video. Bye for now.